Imagine walking into a room and instantly commanding respect without saying a single word. Picture a woman who speaks so authentically, so powerfully, that men don't just listen. They lean in, captivated by her presence. This isn't about manipulation or games. This is about something far more profound that Carl Gustav Jung, the legendary psychologist, understood better than anyone else alive. You see, there's a secret language that high-value women have mastered, a way of communicating that transforms them from just another option into an irreplaceable luxury. And today, I'm going to reveal exactly how they do it, using Jung's revolutionary insights about human psychology and authentic communication. But before we dive deep into this life-changing wisdom, if you're ready to unlock the psychological secrets that separate ordinary women from those who effortlessly attract and maintain healthy, passionate relationships, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." This profound insight reveals the foundation of how high-value women communicate differently. They don't react from a place of irritation, defensiveness, or neediness. Instead, they respond from a centered place of self-awareness and inner strength. The difference between reacting and responding is everything. When a high-value woman encounters challenging behavior from a man, whether it's disrespect, inconsistency, or emotional unavailability, she doesn't immediately jump into argument mode or try to convince him of her worth. She pauses. She breathes. She connects with her inner wisdom. This pause isn't about playing hard to get or following some dating strategy. It's about accessing what Jung called the transcendent function, the ability to hold space for conflicting emotions and perspectives without being overwhelmed by them. A high-value woman has developed this psychological muscle through self-reflection, personal growth, and genuine self-respect. Think about the last time you were in a heated conversation with a man. Did you find yourself explaining, justifying, or defending your position desperately? Or were you able to maintain your composure while clearly expressing your boundaries and expectations? The way you handled that moment reveals everything about your communication style and, ultimately, how you're perceived. Jung believed that we all wear masks, what he called personas, to navigate social situations. But high-value women have done the inner work to align their persona with their authentic self. When they speak, their words carry the weight of genuine confidence because there's no disconnect between who they are and who they're pretending to be. This authenticity creates a magnetic energy that men find irresistible. It's not about being perfect or never showing vulnerability. It's about being real, being grounded, and speaking from a place of self-love rather than self-doubt. When a woman operates from this space, everything changes, not just in her romantic relationships, but in every area of her life. Now let's talk about what Jung called the shadow. Those parts of ourselves we try to hide or deny. Most women, when communicating with men, are unconsciously trying to hide their shadow aspects. They present only their agreeable, accommodating side while suppressing their true thoughts, needs, and boundaries. This creates an imbalance that men can sense on a subconscious level. A high-value woman has done her shadow work. She's acknowledged and integrated all parts of herself, the light and the dark, the agreeable and the challenging. This doesn't mean she's aggressive or confrontational. It means she's whole. When she speaks, she's not filtering herself through the lens of, "What will make him like me?" Instead, she's asking, "What is my truth in this moment?" This integration shows up in her communication in powerful ways. She doesn't apologize for taking up space. She doesn't minimize her accomplishments or downplay her intelligence to make a man feel more comfortable. She doesn't laugh at jokes that aren't funny or agree with opinions that don't align with her values. She presents herself as a complete human being, not a carefully curated version designed to please. Jung emphasized the importance of what he called individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are rather than who others expect you to be. High-value women are on this journey of individuation. They've moved beyond people-pleasing and into authentic self-expression. This is incredibly attractive to mature, emotionally available men because it signals psychological health and self-respect. Consider how most women handle disagreement in relationships. They might avoid conflict entirely, hoping problems will resolve themselves. Or they might become emotionally reactive, turning discussions into drama-filled arguments. Neither approach serves anyone well. A high-value woman takes a third path. She addresses issues directly but calmly, speaking her truth without attacking or withdrawing. For example, instead of saying, "You never text me back, and it makes me feel like you don't care about me," which comes from a wounded, reactive place, she might say, "I've noticed our communication patterns don't align with what I need in a relationship. I value consistent connection, and I'm wondering if we see this differently." Notice the difference? She's stating facts, expressing her needs, and creating space for dialogue rather than making accusations or demands. This kind of communication requires what Jung called holding the tension of opposites, being both vulnerable and strong, both open and boundaried, both caring and detached from outcomes. It's a sophisticated emotional skill that separates high-value women from those who remain stuck in reactive patterns. Jung also introduced us to the concept of anima and animus, the feminine and masculine aspects that exist within every person. A high-value woman understands this duality within herself and uses it strategically in her communication. She can access her feminine intuition and emotional intelligence while also drawing on her masculine directness and logical thinking when needed. This psychological flexibility is what makes her communication so compelling. She's not locked into stereotypical feminine behaviors like being overly emotional or passive-aggressive, nor does she swing to the opposite extreme of becoming overly masculine, harsh, or competitive. Instead, she fluidly moves between these energies based on what the situation requires. When a man is being evasive or unclear, she doesn't chase him for answers or create drama to get his attention. She accesses her masculine energy and asks direct questions. "I'm sensing some distance between us. Are you still interested in moving forward together, or would you prefer to step back?" This kind of direct communication cuts through confusion and forces clarity. But she also knows when to lean into her feminine energy, her intuition, receptivity, and emotional wisdom. If a man is going through a difficult time, she doesn't try to fix him or offer unsolicited advice. Instead, she creates a safe space for him to express himself, listening without judgment and offering support when asked. This balance is crucial because it shows emotional maturity and self-awareness. Men are drawn to women who can match their energy appropriately, who can be strong when strength is needed and soft when softness serves better. It's not about being everything to everyone. It's about being authentically responsive rather than rigidly reactive. One of the most powerful ways this shows up is in how high-value women handle compliments and criticism. When someone praises them, they don't deflect with false modesty or over-explain their achievements. They simply say, "Thank you," and receive the acknowledgement gracefully. When faced with criticism, they don't become defensive or launch into counterattacks. They evaluate the feedback objectively, take what's useful, and discard what isn't. This kind of emotional regulation comes from what Jung called conscious suffering, the willingness to sit with discomfort rather than immediately reacting to make it go away. Most people, when they feel triggered, want to discharge that emotional energy immediately through arguing, explaining, or withdrawing. A high-value woman has learned to contain that energy and transform it into wisdom. She understands that her emotional state is her responsibility, not his. If she's feeling insecure, she doesn't make it his job to reassure her constantly. If she's angry, she doesn't use emotional manipulation to punish him. She processes her emotions internally or with appropriate support systems, then communicates from a clear, centered place. This doesn't mean she's emotionally unavailable or disconnected. Quite the opposite. She's deeply connected to her emotions, but not controlled by them. She can say things like, "I felt hurt when this happened, and I'd like to understand your perspective," rather than, "You always do this to me, and you obviously don't care how I feel." Perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of how high-value women communicate is their relationship with silence and space. Jung understood that the most profound communications often happen in the spaces between words, in what is not said as much as what is expressed. High-value women have mastered the art of strategic silence, not as a manipulative tactic, but as a form of emotional intelligence. When a man says something that requires thought or reflection, she doesn't rush to fill the silence with immediate responses. She allows pauses in conversation, giving both herself and him time to process deeper meanings. This creates an energy of depth and mystery that keeps interactions engaging and meaningful rather than surface-level chatter. This comfort with silence extends to her ability to sit with uncertainty without demanding immediate resolution. If a relationship is going through a rough patch, she doesn't panic and start making ultimatums or having "where is this going" conversations every week. She can hold space for the natural ebb and flow of relationships while maintaining her own center and standards. Jung wrote extensively about the importance of what he called active imagination, the ability to engage with our unconscious minds and trust our inner knowing. High-value women have developed this capacity. They listen not just to what men say, but to the energy behind the words. They pick up on inconsistencies between verbal communication and behavior without becoming paranoid or accusatory. For instance, if a man says he's interested in a serious relationship, but his actions suggest otherwise, she doesn't ignore her intuition or make excuses for him. She also doesn't launch into lectures about his mixed messages. Instead, she trusts her inner knowing and adjusts her level of investment accordingly. She might say something simple like, "I'm getting mixed signals, so I'm going to give you space to figure out what you want." This kind of communication demonstrates what Jung called psychological differentiation, the ability to separate her emotions and needs from his, while still maintaining connection. She's not trying to merge with him or make him responsible for her happiness. She's relating to him as a separate individual with his own journey and choices. High-value women also understand the power of questions over statements. Instead of making accusations like, "You don't prioritize our relationship," they ask curious questions like, "Help me understand how you see our relationship fitting into your life right now." This approach invites dialogue rather than defensiveness and shows genuine interest in understanding his perspective. They've learned that trying to convince someone of their worth is a losing game. Their energy goes toward demonstrating their value through consistent actions and authentic communication, not through words designed to persuade. If someone doesn't recognize their worth, they don't take it personally or try harder to prove themselves. They simply redirect their energy toward people and situations that appreciate what they offer. This detachment from outcomes is perhaps the most attractive quality of all. Men can sense when a woman is operating from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, from self-love rather than self-doubt. It creates a magnetic pull because it suggests she has options and chooses him not from desperation, but from genuine appreciation. The final piece of Jung's wisdom that high-value women embody is what he called the transcendent function, the ability to bridge opposites and create something new from apparent contradictions. In relationships, this manifests as the capacity to be both independent and connected, both vulnerable and strong, both accepting and discerning. Most women get caught in either-or thinking when it comes to relationships. They believe they must choose between being loving or setting boundaries. between being supportive or maintaining their own goals, between being feminine or being powerful. High-value women have transcended this false dichotomy. They understand that real strength comes from integration, not from choosing sides. This shows up beautifully in how they handle conflict resolution. When disagreements arise, they don't try to win or be right. Instead, they seek to understand and find creative solutions that honor both people's needs. They might say something like, "I can see this is important to both of us. How can we find a way forward that works for everyone involved?" They've also mastered what Jung called holding the tension, maintaining their center even when relationships become challenging or uncertain. If a man pulls away, they don't immediately chase or withdraw completely. They hold steady in their own worth while giving him space to work through whatever he's processing. This stability is incredibly attractive because it shows emotional maturity and self-possession. High-value women understand that true intimacy isn't about agreement on everything. It's about being able to be authentically yourself with another person. They don't shapeshift to match what they think he wants. They don't hide their opinions, dreams, or quirks to avoid potential conflict. They show up as themselves and trust that the right person will appreciate their authenticity. This authenticity extends to how they handle their own needs and desires. They don't hint or hope that he'll guess what they want. They communicate clearly and directly. "I'd love to spend more quality time together. Could we plan a regular date night?" Or, "Physical affection is important to me. I've noticed we've been less connected lately, and I'm wondering how you're feeling about that." If you've made it this far in the video, you're clearly someone who values psychological depth and authentic connection. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell, because we're going to continue exploring the profound wisdom of Jung and how it applies to modern relationships. Your future self will thank you for investing in this knowledge. The most powerful aspect of how high-value women communicate is their relationship with their own worth. They don't communicate from a place of proving themselves or earning love. They communicate from a place of sharing themselves, offering their thoughts, feelings, and presence as gifts rather than bargaining chips. This shift in energy changes everything. When you speak from abundance rather than scarcity, from self-love rather than self-doubt, from curiosity rather than fear, you become magnetic. You become the kind of woman that men don't just want to be with. You become the woman they're afraid to lose. Jung's final and perhaps most important teaching for high-value women is the concept of individuation as service. The idea that becoming your authentic self isn't selfish, but actually serves the collective good. When a woman commits to her own psychological growth and authentic communication, she doesn't just transform her own relationships. She gives permission for others to do the same. This is why high-value women don't engage in gossip, drama, or emotional manipulation. They understand that these behaviors come from unconscious wounds and serve no one in the long run. Instead, they model what healthy communication looks like. They show men what it means to interact with a psychologically mature woman, which elevates the quality of all their future relationships. When faced with men who aren't ready for this level of authenticity, high-value women don't try to change them or lower their standards to accommodate immaturity. They simply recognize the mismatch and move forward without drama or resentment. They might say something like, "I can see we're at different places in our growth right now, and that's okay. I wish you well." This graceful exit strategy is incredibly powerful because it leaves no room for argument or negotiation. There's no emotional charge to push against, no drama to engage with. It's simply a clear statement of reality, delivered with kindness and finality. High-value women also understand that their communication style is a reflection of their relationship with themselves. If they're constantly explaining, defending, or proving themselves, it indicates internal insecurity that needs attention. If they're calm, clear, and confident in their communication, it reflects deep self-acceptance and inner peace. This is why the most important relationship they cultivate is the one with themselves. They speak to themselves with the same respect and kindness they expect from others. They don't engage in negative self-talk or self-criticism. They treat themselves as their own best friend, which naturally extends into how they communicate with everyone else. The ultimate goal isn't to use these communication strategies to get a man or manipulate outcomes. The goal is to become so aligned with your authentic self that you naturally attract relationships and situations that match your energy. When you communicate from this place of wholeness, you don't need to chase, convince, or perform. You simply exist as yourself, and the right people are drawn to that energy. Jung believed that the greatest gift we can give the world is our authentic self. For women, this means communicating in ways that honor both your feminine wisdom and your inner strength. It means being vulnerable without being weak, being strong without being harsh, being loving without losing yourself. Remember, every conversation is an opportunity to practice these principles. Every interaction is a chance to choose response over reaction, authenticity over performance, and self-respect over people-pleasing. The more you practice this way of being, the more natural it becomes. You are not meant to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You are not meant to sacrifice your truth for temporary peace. You are meant to shine as the powerful, authentic woman you are, and the right people will recognize and cherish that light.